So, for the past 2 weeks, I have been working on the edit of a 5-minute short film with the director. This is the first time that I've ever collaborated with someone on an edit, so I was really curious to see how that would work out. I was a little bit intimidated at the start about the amount of work and the level of precision required for this edit, but I think that me and the director ended up developing a nice collaboration and like a nice back and forth, at least in my opinion. I realized that I really loved playing around with rhythm and breath when it came to the edit. It was also really fun to get to play around with really good material, as well as like craft that material into a story. I also am really grateful that I got to learn from a more experienced director, because that was an incredibly important learning experience for me. For example, we wouldn't stop at like an okay edit. We kept sort of trying and testing things to see if it could make the edit better. And sometimes we went right back to the original cut, but that's fine. It's a part of editing. Another thing that I learned about collaboration is that there were moments where my opinions would differ from the director's. For example, in terms of like the takes or the length of a cut, which is normal. But it was just really interesting to see how we would both navigate those conversations. Because on the one hand, I'm the editor, which means that I do get to have some creative input into the project. But on the other hand, he's the director and he needs to be given enough space to feel like the final movie is the movie that he wanted to make. A good thing about this experience is that I realized that my editing instincts are actually not that bad. Which is great. And it's definitely something that I now want to pursue and like build confidence around, which is that's really fabulous. It's something that I can definitely take away from this project. Having said that, I do need to sharpen my editing skills in terms of efficiency and attention to detail, which is super important, but it's also fine. I'm still learning. It's fine. What I love about editing is that it's the final writing stage of the film. You know, you put everything together and the magic kind of slowly starts to happen. It's basically a carefully executed choreography of frames and shots. The editor doesn't just put all of the shots into a timeline and then like puts them in the right order. They have to find the right rhythm. Like the challenge is to make sure that the movie is exciting, but that it also flows, and each movie is a little different. Some of the feedback that I've heard from teachers is to look at your footage with some distance to allow the movie that emerged to be made instead of the movie that you might have planned at the beginning. Basically, give yourself some leeway when it comes to adapting the story in the editing booth, and don't just stay stuck on the script, because if you allow it, editing can add a lot to the final project. Before I leave, I wanted to address something. I'm very proud of the work that I've done on this project, but I did realize that I don't think I've ever spent as many hours, relatively speaking, on a project of my own. And this leads me to the question, what makes you feel legitimate as an artist? What makes you put in as much effort and care into your own work as you would for other people? I have noticed myself being a little bit more lenient, or maybe just lazy, when it came to my own work. Not because I didn't care, but because I wasn't as convinced. When I asked my friend what she did to feel more legitimate as an artist, she had this to answer.
For me, a legitimate artist is just someone who creates art. So it's really about the action for me. Like if someone is like engaging in the process of creating and making things, then for me, I think that they're a legitimate artist. So it's not really something external, but I think it's more about like validating yourself and like feeling confident in like the fact that you have something to say and something you would like to express. Um, so yeah, as long as you're creating, you're an artist for me.
And for me, it's definitely been the support of other people that has helped me. But I'm curious, what do you do to feel legitimate as an artist?